very tough to follow that. Jane and I picked straws. Who's going to follow Rabbi Joseph Tillishkin speaking tonight? So I picked a small straw, which is gluten-free. I ate it. It's still fun. So I have tons of very special people to thank for all of the wonderful, crazy things that are going on tonight. But for the sake of time and for my nerves, I've been told that Jane will be handling the things. So just generic thank you, and I really mean it. I was gonna, when I first wrote this speech, I started writing, I'm humbled by this honor, I absolutely am. But then one day at work, I got a little thing on the screen that popped up, a quote of the day, and it said, gold in my ear, that said once, do not be humble, you're not so great. And, so, I'll get back to that in a second. So Ramath is my second home. Living in Manhattan, you kind of need a second home, second space, and there's a lot of space here. You do all kinds of things you can't do at home. So it's great. It's the first and maybe the only shul I've ever really felt comfortable in, ever. Now this might be a controversial thing to say, but it is the reason possibly, or it's one of the key sort of winners of the argument why we're still in Manhattan. Okay. So on with, I was thinking of getting really cheesy at this point, but since it's a fleischer meal, I couldn't. So I was going to quote the theme from Cheers about how this is a place where everyone knows your name, especially after Zachary Newton, who remembers not only your name, but every 5 generations back. So I decided against that cheese. So instead I thought the remaining 240 seconds allotted to me, I tell a little story to remove any suspense. It's going to both start and end with, maybe tangentially, with chillant. Now, one of my Ramath Orah generated friends, Mendy Haskell, and I were talking at a recent Kiddush. We were saying, I was saying really, I'm not honored here today because every couple of weeks I throw a couple of bones in a chilling pot, okay? Today really is about the special person that is my wife of 17 years as of last Sunday, Jane. So let me continue the story. Okay, so here's the story. I knew the speech was coming up, I had to come up with something, and it was a day the kids had already gone to school, and Jane was sick. She couldn't talk. She was like this, with a fever, and I think Jack had baseball practice the night before, so there was a little bit of dirt in the kitchen, because he had decided to take the baseball bat and clean his spikes on the kitchen floor. And I assumed Jane being sick would be lying in bed. As I left, I heard some sort of scratching sound, and I go into the kitchen, and she's sweeping and she's scrubbing, and I said, Jane, the cleaning lady's coming in 20 minutes. What are you doing? Get in bed. And she couldn't help it. She had this not glazed, but very intense look, and a big smile on her face. And I said, what's going on? What are you cleaning? And she goes, ever since I was a little girl, I was always 2 things. I have 2 bullet points here. Happy and helpful. 2 H's, happy and helpful. So these words resonated with me 20 minutes later on the subway. I was sort of thinking over them. By this time, 20 minutes later, Jane had probably respackled the bathroom or something. But I thought these 2 qualities kind of see Jane's essence in everything she does. How can I help? And it's going to be good and fun. Even if we're doing a blood drive and taking your blood, it's going to be fun. I decided this was going to be the germ of this speech. So there's a lot of things that I have here, all the things she's done. Rabbi Tillishkin mentioned them, Jeff mentioned them. Some of them I have here, the kids mentioned, both did great. I have here a little bit more cheese, but as part of cheese, I have a Midas touch of happiness. Everything she touches sort of brings us happiness. And I mean, I can talk about all the things she's done. She's going to talk, so let's just move on with my story and wrap up the remaining 48 seconds I have. So the happy and helpful, I was trying to figure out, okay, that's just 2 words, 2 bullets. It's not really a PowerPoint presentation. How am I going to tie it into a real speech? So the Golden Mayor quote appeared on the first day that we were thinking about this. But just yesterday, I think this was from Twitter, and unfortunately, the Ask Jeeves said it was by an anonymous Chinese philosopher, Chef Boyardee. It's basically the following, in terms of happy and helpful. I mean, hopefully it's still printed on this thing. It says, the happiest people don't have the best of everything. They just make the best of everything. So the happiest people don't have the best of everything. They just make the best of everything. And to me, this shul and sort of Jane's attitude that's very infectious kind of epitomizes this. For example, it's in Manhattan. There's no real space for a sukkah. It used to be downstairs, now there's a flood there. So we put it on the street right next to a bus stop. God sake. It's expensive to cater to lavish kiddush that we brag about. But so what do? We have people come in here, and there's a wonderful chillin rotation, back to the chillin. Jeff makes beautiful, Josh makes beautiful. And the chillin will come back, I promise. And this is, the cheesy part of the speech is over, but this is the nerdy part of the speech. This shul is more like the Unix operating system versus the Windows operating system. Everything is configurable. Things are accessible. They feel accessible. You want a sukkah? Go get a permit from the local cop that goes to the shul and put your builder sukkah on the bus stop in Manhattan. You want a blood drive? Okay, you can't do it because there's some weird scent downstairs from some kind of toxin that might knock people out. Fine, we'll still do the blood drive. Clean it up. And it goes on and on and on. So things feel accessible, things can be tweaked, things can be configured. So here's where the chillin ends, and you guys can probably see it coming a mile away. But I used to come here every week, see the delicious trays of expensive catered metal trays of chillin. And I couldn't eat it because I have celiac disease. I can't eat the barley. And one day, someone said, you can eat this chillin, it's gluten-free. And I kind of forgot where that happened, where the origin of this. I looked on Wikipedia, it wasn't there. So I wrote today to Josh Levine, the head of the chillin committee. I said, where did the gluten-free chillin come from? Where did it come from? I'm kind of finishing up the speech. I've got 3 seconds left. There's no more room in my hard drive. Let me just bang it out. He said, I don't know, ask Jeff. So I wrote to Jeff, I said, where did the gluten-free chillin come from? He said, where do you think? Jane and I were talking like 8 years ago, and she said, well, I'm allergic to gluten, and his daughter might be allergic to gluten, so guess what? Jane literally had her hand in the gluten-free chillin as well. And don't worry, it's clean, you can still eat it. Just like everything else in the shul. So thank you very much, I'm honored, appreciate it.